What is going on? I am back. And we got Candyland on today. We do. How have you all been? Hopefully it was a good week for you. It was certainly a good week for me, especially if you're like me and had Leicester players. Especially Jamie Vardy or Ayazi Perez. Or pretty much anyone on the team did quite well. So yeah, we had a good week this week. We definitely turned it around. So we definitely turned it around. High scoring week. For some, didn't have Leicester players, then you were a bit upset. Would have liked obviously the captain on Vardy, but we got a decent captain in the end. So let's check out how we did. Hopefully everyone can see that. So we got 573 points overall. We got 83 points this game week. We used our wild card this week, and we're sitting inside the top 100k, so we're looking quite nice. So let's go through all the scores like we usually do. That is not the game week that I want. I want this game week. And we shall bring over our handy dandy snippet tool, and we shall see how we did. So this was my tweet. I put Game Week 9 instead of Game Week 10. Should have been Game Week 10. Let's bring out our little notebook. So the last couple of weeks we didn't do so hot. We only got, I think it was 2 results right. We didn't get any exact scores right, which isn't good. It's not good at all. I'm just trying to find the page that I usually put the notes on here. Where are they going to? Where have we gone to? I do know that I definitely got the Leicester result right, so that's at least 1 point. I can't find it, I'll just put it on a different page completely. So this was Game Week 10. So, Leicester, I put 2-0 to win. They obviously won 9-0. I don't think anyone would have bet money that they would have won 9-0 this week, and if they did, they probably earned a lot of money. I said Man City would win 3-1. They won 3-0. So we get another point for that. I said Brighton would win 2-1. They ended up winning 3-2. So I got the result right on that. So we're already matching our points for last week. Bournemouth, I thought, would beat Watford. It ended up being a draw. No goals in that one, which is quite surprising to me. I thought West Ham would beat Sheffield United. They did not. It was a 1-1 instead of a 2-1. I said Chelsea would win 3-1. They won 4-2. So we get a result right for that as well. I said Newcastle would be a draw with Wolves. 0-0 or 1-1. I put 0-0 down. It ended up being 1-1, so we get the result right for that. So we're on 5 points now. Arsenal, Crystal Palace. I said Crystal Palace would win. It ended up being a draw. It was probably just as good. Yeah. Arsenal not looking too hot right about now. They're not looking too good. They lost midweek in a nail biter for the cup. I'm just gonna mute my phone notifications, as you probably heard. Just mute that. There we go. And then Liverpool 3-1 win over Tottenham ended up being 2-1, so we got the result right for that. And then I put United Norwich to be a 1-1. We won 3-1. Yay! So hopefully we can keep up the form. It'll be 4 away games in a row, including the Europa League and the Carabao Cup. So we got a win over Partizan Belgrade. We got a win over Norwich. We've got a win over Chelsea, which was quite good to see. Still not producing much in open play, which is my one criticism of the team still. But hopefully we can keep it up against Bournemouth. Bournemouth couldn't score any against Watford, who are dreadful. But maybe starting to pick it up, so we'll have to see. So yeah, I didn't get this all right. So overall 6 points, which is double what we did the last 2 weeks. It's combined over what we did the last 2 weeks in 3 points apiece. I'll have to find the page and write down an actual list. So yeah, looking all right there. In terms of clean sheet, well, Leicester definitely kept the clean sheet. So we're going to give a big tick for that. Ederson keeping a clean sheet. Definitely a big tick for that. Willy Bally was not good. He actually got he sprained or broke his ankle or something like that in training. He's going to be out. You can actually see him on my team. I'm just going to move this out of the way for the time being. Yeah, he injured himself. I believe it was some type of broken bone of some kind on, I think it was like Thursday's training session or something like that. It was late. It was a late call. And it wasn't actually introduced to the public until pretty much game time as far as I know. I didn't pick it up, so we've gone to transfer them out. That's a little bit of a spoiler there, but yeah. Did Zaha get anything versus Chris Palace? I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah, he got an assist, so Zaha doing quite well there. And then obviously Jamie Vardy doing very well. So 4 for 5 on our differential picks there, or differential quote unquote. And we got 6 points overall, so we got 6 results right out of the 10, which isn't bad. 60% ratio overall. So we got 4 out of 4 plus 6. We got basically 2/3 of things right result wise. So yeah, quite good for that. Quite good for that. So yeah, the real big surprise of the week was obviously Leicester winning as big as they did. United actually winning for once. Arsenal still maintaining their crappy form. Bournemouth not doing well against Watford, who seems to be turning the screw. Everton's Marco Silva under a lot of pressure now. And Spurs still continuing to play badly and choking in situations where they could otherwise win. So yeah, let's look at how the actual team did. So we're looking here. This was not my original team that I had set up. I originally had Willy Bolly in. He was injured. Rico was first sub, so came in and replaced him, getting me 5 points. He got a clean sheet, -1 for a yellow card. We have Ramsdale, who got 2 bonus points and a clean sheet and goal. Fantastic on the wild card. Pereira, we bought in on the wild card as well. He got us a clean sheet. Soyuncu got us a clean sheet as well. Mane, we had it in the previous week. He got an assist. Mount also got us an assist as well. Hudson-Odoi came on. He was substituted on, but got himself a yellow for diving. Sterling did quite well. De Bruyne also doing quite well. 11 and 12 points respectively there. Obviously would have been better to have the captaincy on Sterling, or even better so to have it on Jamie Vardy, who got 3 goals and an assist. Which was very, very, very good, especially when we brought him on the wild card. He's also gone way up in price since we've transferred him in, which is quite nice. I believe we brought him in at I think it was at 9 or 9.1. We brought him in at 9 million, and he's gone up 3 times since then. So yeah, it's pretty looking quite nice. Looking quite nice for him right now. And then Abraham getting an assist. So the Chelsea guys doing 4 goals, and Mount and Abraham only get an assist each. Hudson-Odoi obviously not playing. Pulisic obviously doing crazy things. Will he start this week? Potentially. But he did start in the Europa League, so maybe it's Hudson-Odoi's turn to start this week. We know Abraham and Mount will start. They're linchpins to the team. They were obviously rested for the most part in midweek. So hopefully get the starts there. Henderson getting 3. We obviously play Ramsdale over him. That was a good pick on that part. Bolly's obviously injured. Lundstrom got his 2 points. And Greenwood came off the bench for a single point. So the highlights obviously for this week was that City got points from De Bruyne, who could have had more if David Silva hadn't touched the ball. Would have had a goal instead of an assist. Sterling obviously scored. Had a chance or 2 that he could have probably put away as well. Jamie Vardy obviously scoring all of his goals pretty comfortably. Had a big miss in the first half and didn't look too well. And I was thinking, well, is this going to be one of those games where Jamie Vardy just gets nothing, like a bashing of a team? But turned out quite well. So our picks were all pretty good. It was basically the best possible thing that we could have had, barring Lundstrom being in for Hudson-Odoi, as an example. But can't have your cake and eat it too. And that resulted in 83 points. I'm not sure what my previous team would have done, but it definitely wouldn't have been as good as this. I know that for sure. I know that for a certain. So let's move on to this week's fixtures. So we're going to bring out over our notepad here. Everyone can see that. Let me put on the clean sheets, defender, midfielder, forward, forgot the goalkeeper. So we got Bournemouth versus Manchester United. I think United are they're flipping a new page here, and they're going to be doing good things. So I expect United to get, because the thing is, this is how you have to see it, right? United don't concede many goals, and when they do, it's usually only one. So can United score 2 goals versus Bournemouth? Maybe. So I think if anything, I think the most likely scoreline of this game is probably a 2-1 to Manchester United. We'll probably get a penalty and then a goal somewhere, hopefully. Martial's obviously back. Midfield's looking like we got a good dynamic in there. McTominay's playing out of his mind. We doubted the likes of when people were saying that this kid's going to be good, and now we're starting to see, I guess, what they saw in training, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months ago. So hopefully Scott keeps it up and he just keeps being that destroyer that we need in midfield. Arsenal versus Wolves. Now, I've gone back and forward over this a few times. Arsenal's turn of form is terrible. If Emery plays Ozil, who looked fantastic midweek, yes, he was against Liverpool's weak side, as it were, and they don't play Granit Xhaka, they should win this game with no problem. I think Arsenal should win. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet, but I do think that Wolves with the Europa League and them being tired, they did save their players midweek against Aston Villa in the cup. Maybe a loss of priority there, but in the large number of games that they keep having to play for a team that's not used to it, it could be something that could tire the team. I think Arsenal will probably bounce back and win this game 3-1. Lacazette will probably get his 50th goal in that. I expect Aubameyang scoring, and Ozil, if he starts, will probably do good things for them. I think on his day can be, absolutely world class, and they need him to be world class, especially for a team like Wolves, who are going to sit back. They're going to play very defensively, and they're going to try to hit Arsenal on the break. Liverpool going away to Aston Villa. It's going to be a tough game for Liverpool. Going to be a tough game. I'm not sure if Jack Grealish, I think there was an injury doubt for him, but I think Liverpool should win this game comfortably. They have Alisson back in goal. I think they should have no problems with this game. One thing to also note is that Fabinho is on he only can get one more yellow before he gets suspended. Now, with them having Man City next week, I think they're probably going to rest him, which means I think that they'll probably end up conceding 1 goal. So I see Liverpool also winning by a scoreline of 3-1. Brighton versus Norwich. I think Brighton are going to win this game pretty comfortably. I'm going to go with a 2-0. Man City versus Southampton. How many goals is it going to be by? I think 5-0. It's probably a good scoreline. The Man City are at home. Southampton are, they've already been beaten by City already. It's not looking good for them. It's not looking good. Southampton could be on their way down, unfortunately. Teams who have come on their way up is Sheffield United versus Burnley. I think this could be a close contest. Burnley not as good away from home. Typically the Turf Moor is kind of their fortress. Sheffield United are decent at home. I think this could be a draw between the two teams. I think a 1-1 is probably a fair result. West Ham versus Newcastle. Now, both teams, Newcastle likes to sit in. West Ham like to actually play decent football. I think West Ham should probably win this game by a standard 2-0. I don't see Newcastle scoring because they're not very good. And even though West Ham aren't very good defensively, they'll probably still keep a clean sheet for that. Watford versus Chelsea. Chelsea's defense is awful, but Watford's is also just as bad. Watford's slightly on the up and up. I think this will probably be a Chelsea win. I think Chelsea will score 3 in this game, and I think Watford will probably only score 1. So another 3-1 scoreline. Leicester versus Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace obviously doing very well for themselves. They're better away from home than they are at home. Leicester obviously coming off a fantastic away win, so they'll be in good spirits. I can only see a Leicester win in this game. I do think Crystal Palace will still score, and again, a 3-1 victory for Leicester is probably the most likely outcome. Everton versus Tottenham. I think both teams are probably going to be quite disappointed with the result. I think a decently scoring draw and a 2-2 is probably a fair result. Spurs are awful at the back. Everton are awful in just pretty much everything that they do. They go in these spells. They have one really good game and they look like they could be contenders, and all of a sudden they're just terrible. It's really, really, really bad performances for them. but in large patterns, in large streaks, which is not what you want, obviously. In terms of clean sheet, I think I'm going to have to go with Brighton's goalkeeper and Matt Ryan. So we'll go with Brighton here, and then Ryan for Brighton. I think that's probably the pretty safe bet there, because I don't think Norwich are even going to score. So in defense, I'm actually going to go with Cancelo from Manchester City, because he seems to be cementing his place in City's back line. Is obviously a good threat going forward, and it's getting decent game time. So we'll see how he plays as well. Into the midfield, I'm going to probably go with the likes of I think Iosi Perez deserves a mention. You know, looked very good in the game versus Southampton. Was in and around the box. I assume they're going to play that sort of system again, especially being away from home. And that's just going to be something that they're probably going to have to deal with on the defensive side. Palace, he usually plays off the right-hand side, which will be up against the likes of Van Aanholt, who likes to get forward, which means he can get space in behind, and he's also pacey himself, so it could be quite good there. In terms of the forwards, I think I'm going to go with the likes of Haller for West Ham. I think he should be able to bounce back and get himself a goal. I'm pretty sure he didn't do, from what I remember, anything last week. It was Snodgrass with Yarmolenko. Says I think him being in and around the box could be a nuisance for the likes of Newcastle to deal with. There's a bigger figure in the center there. Newcastle obviously going to sit back and do whatever they can. He's also very good technically with his feet. He's also got a bit of pace about him. I just like to see him basically get in there and just basically show why Newcastle aren't that great of a team, and how good he is. Because we've seen moments of where he's very, very good with the ball at his feet, very good in the air, and very strong. So potentially an assist from him, maybe laying it off to the likes of a Yarmolenko or a Felipe Anderson, or maybe some type of set piece where he just dominates in the air. So that's what I'm going to go with. So just to run it back, a 2-1 win for United, 3-1 win for Arsenal over Wolves, a 3-1 win for Liverpool, 2-0 victory for Brighton, 5-0 Man City win, a 1-1 draw between Sheffield United and Burnley, West Ham United 2-0 win over Newcastle, Chelsea and Leicester both going to win 3-1 over their counterparts Watford and Crystal Palace, and then a 2-2 draw for Everton and Tottenham. For the clean sheet and goalkeeper, I've gone with Brighton in Ryan, and the clean sheet of obviously Brighton itself. Man City for the defender for Cancelo, because he cemented his place and seems to be playing quite well. Iosi Perez, we're going to go with him. A lot of people are transferring him in. Look for him to obviously make things happen in a system that's probably going to benefit them playing against Crystal Palace, who like to attack, and Van Aanholt likes to get forward so he can exploit the space in behind. And then Haller for West Ham up front as a forward. So that's the clean sheets, differentials, and score predictions for the week. Now, if we look at the kickoffs, there's a lot of them obviously at 12 o'clock, which is the 3 p.m. kickoffs, UK time. United obviously having the early game. I like to get the week set off either very good or very bad right out of the way. So that's always nice. The two very contested games, obviously on Sunday, with the Crystal Palace versus Leicester being quite an interesting contest with Palace and Leicester both playing, and then it's the battle of the teams in the downfall, the teams that are just on a downward trend, Everton and Spurs. So it'll be very interesting to see how those games unfold. So, in terms of transfers, we took out Willy Boly, we brought in Engels from Aston Villa. You know, just a bit of a differential to the likes of Tyrone Mings. Is obviously less owned. He plays every game. He's just a filler player there. You know, every now and again maybe get a clean sheet. We brought him in to basically play him in Gameweek 13, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Look, our good fixtures as well. And then we can look for potential wildcard options afterwards. We're rotating basically him, Lundstrom, and Rico as our third defender, because with Leicester's fixtures, we're going to be playing them pretty much every game until the end of the Christmas period. Obviously, Man City away is not great. Liverpool at home is obviously not as good. But we have, so if we look at 18 and 19 for Rico can play in 18. We have Lundstrom, he can play both 18 and 19. Very good fixtures there. And we have 18 and 19 for Engels as well. So we'll probably play Pereira just because he can get attacking returns. And then we have a rotating goalkeeper system here that we're working with from our wild card as well. In terms of what we're actually going to be playing this week, just going to move these two out of the way. This is what we got going in here. So obviously Ramsdale versus United. I don't think he's going to keep a clean sheet. I think that Henderson could keep a clean sheet. Sheffield United versus Burnley, although I predicted the scoreline to be 1-1. But I do think stylistically they both match up well. Sheffield United like to play a very organized system, but they're going to come out and play football, whereas Burnley are going to sit back and they're just going to sit there and pretty much do nothing with the ball, and they're just going to lump it forward. But the thing is, with the way Sheffield United like to get back off when they do lose possession, I don't think Burnley's attackers, they're basically the likes of Ashley Barnes, the Chris Woods, those sorts of people, are going to be able to get the ball and move it quickly enough for them to be punished. So I think, if anything, it's going to be some type of set piece of Burnley, which they always seem to get in games, whether they take that chance or not. Who knows? But I can also see this game going as a 1-0. So we have both Lundstrom and Henderson for the double clean sheet in there. In terms of our other defenders, we have Leicester, Crystal Palace away. We don't want to play Engels. He's against Liverpool. We don't want to play Rico. He's against Manchester United. Greenwood, is he likely to play? No. So we'll probably end up conceding the clean sheet for Pereira and Soyuncu. But Pereira obviously very good in getting crosses in. Obviously Cresswell. Not Cresswell. The one that did really well. Plays for England. Everyone knows who I'm talking about. I'm just spacing out on the name right now. If I remember it, I'll say it. But yeah, it could be Pereira's turn for the returns this week. And yeah, hopefully they do keep a clean sheet. And then in terms of Chelsea, Watford's defense, as obviously we've seen, has been awful. They can't keep goals out of their net. They're just playing overall bad. So we have Hudson-Odoi, Mount, and Abraham, who are all looking like they're going to start because Hudson-Odoi was rested midweek. Mount was also rested, Abraham was rested, and they only came on as substitute appearances for the game. We have the captaincy on Kevin De Bruyne this week. I think he's going to be able to unlock the Southampton defense, who are going to basically try to sit back as far as they can to make sure that they can't do anything. And De Bruyne is going to be the one to basically have that killer pass, so we're going to have the captaincy on him. Sterling, tempted to put the captaincy on him as well, but I think De Bruyne is the safer bet. I think De Bruyne will also be the more consistent bet. If we look at how Sterling's done the last couple of weeks, if we go back, obviously in their 8-0 win over Watford, he didn't play. Everton got himself a goal, did nothing in the Wolves game, got an assist in this game, and the Aston Villa at home game, he obviously scored a goal and had a clean sheet point. If we look at De Bruyne, didn't play in the Wolves game. That's the one that he was injured for. Kept a clean sheet in the Crystal Palace game. It was just a solid game. Doing quite well. He still, his last basically run of games was 4 weeks ago. So it's on the 4th week. So maybe we're looking at a lucky number here, I guess. I consider putting the captaincy on the likes of Abraham or Vardy. But I think that Southampton at home, with them being as bad as they are, could be just mega points. If Sterling goes nuts, obviously we have him as a vice captain if De Bruyne doesn't play. But I think we could see the likes of like a Phil Foden playing, who also may go up there to try to express himself. Maybe rest of David Silva, considering it is a weaker opposition. He did play midweek as well, Phil Foden. So that could be interesting as well, which means De Bruyne could be pushing higher up the field as well, which is beneficial to us. And then obviously, like I said, Abraham is away at Watford. He's going to be leading line, as well as Jamie Vardy. Obviously doing stellar things. for their respective teams, and we hope to get some points out of them. So, how do I see this game going? Well, it all depends on how much City beats Southampton by, and it depends on who comes out of the battle of the teams on the rise with Leicester and Crystal Palace. If Leicester does well, then we should be alright. If Crystal Palace does well, probably not so much. And we just need Chelsea to score some goals. So that's kind of what we are looking at. And then hopefully we can come back smiling. Obviously the double sets of defenses are crucial. With Leicester on the Sunday and Sheffield United on the Saturday. We need one of those teams to keep a clean sheet. I think it's more likely to be Sheffield United, which is fine because we have the likes of Soyuncu who can head the ball in from a set piece, or Pereira getting in an assist from a cross, or scoring a potential set piece. The likes of those things there. And then obviously we want Mane to get back on the score sheet versus the Aston Villa team that is exploitable in some cases, but are playing decently well. They're going to try to play, which is right into Liverpool's hands, so they should be up for that game, especially for the hype win that they got in midweek of 5-5, which went to penalties versus Arsenal in the Carabao Cup. Obviously Mane fully rested for that, as well as the likes of Salah and Firmino. So that's going to do it for this week. Please smash a like on the video when it goes up on YouTube. Make sure to leave comments down below in the video, which is going to go up on YouTube in a little bit. Make sure to follow the channel if you are new. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, as we will have more Game Week previews coming up, obviously as weeks come, and we will let you know if you follow us on Twitter to make sure that you'll be up to date when we do go live, and any notifications or updates will be posted on there as well. I'm Pilot Flame, and until next time, see ya!